In this episode, we will discuss a particular pattern of narrative identified by the American scholar Joseph Campbell. This particular pattern of narrative is known as hero's journey, and it appears in many forms of storytelling, including drama, myth, ritual, and even in psychological development. What is a hero's journey? The book Hero with a Thousand Faces, written by Joseph Campbell, is an analysis of hero-centric mythical stories, and by analyzing these stories, Joseph Campbell established that there is a kind of pattern in the narrative that is coming back again and again, that is appearing through many mythical tales. What is myth? Myths are believed to be ancient tales very old, originated in ancient past. These are considered as sacred tales, and it is usually taking place in some other world, not in this world but some other world, and it involves character other than humans also, extra-human characters or inhuman characters, including also heroic characters. Myths are often classified as cosmogonic myths and cosmologic myths. The Greek word cosmos means order. So all these myths are dealing with some kind of order of nature. Cosmogonic myths are myths of origin. Myth about origin of the world, origin of human being, origin of many other things. And cosmologic myths are myths that deals with order of the universe. So these are the two kinds of myths that were discussed and analyzed by Joseph Campbell. According to scholars like Joseph Campbell, the ancient human concern with order and nature of the universe have found expression in myth. The expression can be symbolic or can be value-laden. Many people believe that myths are actually a kind of discourse that explains much about human nature. So in that sense, myths are valid and still usable in modern times. The basic characters of myths can be discussed now. We must remember that myth is a story that is or was considered as a true explanation of the natural world and how it came to be. So myths deal with nature, deal with universe, and how universe came into being. Characters are often non-human, that is, it can be gods or goddesses, supernatural beings, the first people, or some kind of force of nature. Myths are usually set in a previous proto-world. By proto-world we mean a world like this but not exactly like this, somewhat they are different. So it is a kind of known but yet unknown world. Plot may involve interplay between two worlds, this world and the unknown world or the proto-world, which looks like this world but is a different world and got a different order also, the other world. And the myth depicts events that bends or breaks natural laws. Mythical stories has this very interesting point that it depicts events that usually do not follow the law of the nature. It breaks the law, and that is why it becomes interesting story. Cosmogonic or metaphysical explanation of the universe, meaning why this universe is like this, is one of the objective of the myths to be resolved. Myths have a functional role. It conveys how to live, assumptions, values, core meanings of individual, families, communities about existence. These are the concerns of the myth, and these are the things that myths tries to answer. Myth evokes the presence of mystery. There is something unknown in life. There is something unknown beyond life, and these are the things myths try to discover, try to explore. The basic structure of myth is often based on dualities like light and darkness, duality between God and evil, being and nothingness. These are the kind of dualities that are essential in mythical stories. Dualities are often mediated by characters in myths. Myth seeks to answer why we are here, who are we, what is our purpose, what is our destiny. So these are the life's fundamental questions that myth tries to answer. With the progress of civilization, we must agree that old myths are replaced by new myths, and that is why our study of myth is so essential in order to understand the life that we are living right now, the narratives that we are creating right now, and how the old myths have been replaced by new myths. What are the new myths created by modern life? Myth presents archetypes. What is archetype? Archetypes are recurring patterns of human behavior symbolized by standard types of characters that appears in movies or in novels or in many stories. So in myth, what we find is that these archetype characters present the mythical stories in an interesting way. And there are 8 archetypical characters that has been identified by Joseph Campbell and later critics like Christopher Vogler. What are these 8 archetypical characters? Number 1 is obviously the hero, the central figure in the story who has a task to complete. And Joseph Campbell says that everyone is the hero of his or her own myth, meaning that in modern life we create myth about ourselves. The second archetypical character is the villain or the enemy. It can be a person, it can be a force of nature, it can be the enemy within, it can be the anxiety or the repressed possibilities of the hero, the potentiality of becoming evil, that can also be villain. So one person can be at the same time hero and also can be a villain, or from hero can transform into villain. So any kind of repressed anger, frustration, grief can transform a person into a villain. So the concept of villain has been expanded by Joseph Campbell in order to incorporate this, to create this duality between good and evil, between good and bad. And the bad or the evil or the villain can also be within us. The third archetype is the archetype of mentor. Mentor is a special category of people who appear in movies and they function like the hero's guiding principles. Mentors can be guiding principles. It may not be a personified character, but it can be the ideals or the principles. It can be there can be a great coach or teacher or something that guides the hero to face the challenge. So this is called mentor. It can be a person, an individual, or it can be some set of principles, maybe a sacred book or something, some force that functions as mentor in myth. Number 4 in myth is called herald. Herald is a character who brings call to adventure. So it is a character who functions alongside the hero and helps the hero to face the challenge, to enter into the story, enter into the pattern and face the challenge. He is a person who calls the hero to come into the action and take necessary steps to resolve the problem. Number 5 is the threshold guardians. These are a group of characters, usually a group of characters. It can be an individual also. It is a force that stands in the way at important moment in the story preventing the hero from achieving the goal. It can be jealous enemies or professional gatekeepers preventing the hero, or it can be hero's own fear and anxiety coming from inside. That can also be called as threshold guardian, something, a force, an individual preventing the hero from achieving the goal. The sixth archetype is called shape-shifters. In mythical or fantasy stories, creatures like dragons, vampires, werewolves who change shape, In modern stories also there are shape-shifters. Somebody appearing like an honest person turns to be an evil, or somebody appearing as an evil person turns to be an honest person, a good person, a helper. So people keep on changing their shapes, people keep on changing their appearance, people keep on changing their values. And these people play an important role in modern stories. And in mythical stories, these were actually dragons or vampires or werewolves or fairies of some kind, magical creatures. So these characters played important role in mythical stories. We have their modern incarnation also, and these characters are known as shape-shifters. Number 7 in archetypical category is the tricksters. They are like magicians or mischief makers. They can be clowns also. So clowns or mischief makers, they have their own mischievous subconscious urging to change. And these people also play very important role in myth, also in modern stories. We have the whole Batman story in which the mischief maker or the trickster turns into the evil character, turns into the villain. Number 8 is the allies, meaning characters or people who help the hero to achieve the goal. They can be known or unknown people, they can be buddies, friends, who advise the hero through the transition of life. Hero goes through a series of transformations and transitions, and in hero-centric film, the central character or the protagonist needs helpers, buddies, allies to help him or her, and this archetype is known as allies. So these are the 8 essential archetypes that dominate mythic stories, mythic narratives. In his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell has identified a fundamental rule. He noticed that all the hero-centric myth has one thing in common, and that is that in all the stories, the hero takes a journey, and he identified 12 stages of this journey and developed as a character. Now we are going to discuss the 12 stages of hero's journey. The first of the 12 stages of hero's journey is the ordinary world. The central character, the mythical hero, will be introduced in this section. And in this section, the audience will discover the hero as a kind of sympathetically, and the audience will be able to identify the hero also. At the same time, the hero will be placed against an environment or maybe against his own personal history, so that the audience will know something more about the central character, more about the mythical hero, and they will be able to identify with the hero as well. So this is the ordinary world, the first stage of hero's journey. At this stage, the hero has not changed, but from the next stage onward, the hero will gradually change in order to fulfill his journey, in order to fulfill his goal. The second stage in a hero's journey is the call to adventure. In this section, something will happen, a new situation will arise. It can arise because of external causes, or it can arise from within, some kind of anxiety or fear or some kind of concern will actually change the situation, and that will force the hero to take some kind of initiative, some kind of action. So it is a call to adventure, to face some new challenge. The challenge can be external or challenge can be internal. This is the second stage in a hero's journey, and this will be the beginning of the story in a very significant way. The third stage in a hero's journey is known as refusal to call. That means it is a stage in which the hero will be refusing to act because of some kind of fear from within, some kind of anxiety, and will refuse to take the adventure, face the problem. But this will happen for a brief moment. It can also happen like not the hero but some other character will talk about this fear of the unknown, talk about the anxiety or the uncertainty in the journey itself. So in this section, the hero will refuse to face the challenge for a brief moment. The fourth stage in hero's journey is known as meeting with the mentor. In this stage, the hero meets another person, somebody who is learned, maybe older than the hero, and who has this vision of the world and who can train or equip the hero, prepare him to face the adventure, face the challenge. So this is a kind of a character that helps the hero to face the challenge, face the world, and get into the action itself. Meeting with the mentor not always necessarily means that there is a person whom the central character meets and gets some kind of advice, but it can be sourced from within the character himself. So it's something coming from within. Courage or some kind of wisdom can also be presented in this section. The next point, the number 5 in the hero's journey model, is the crossing the threshold. In this section, the hero leaves the ordinary world, the comfortable world, and finally begins his journey. And in this section, he enters into a new world, an unknown world, maybe a dangerous world, which has its own rules and regulations and values. So the challenge is not only physical, but it is the challenge of the unknown, and it is a challenge that can change his values altogether. So crossing the threshold, meaning that the hero is entering into the danger zone. The sixth stage in a hero's journey is known as tests, allies, and enemies. That means in this section of hero's journey, the protagonist, the central character, comes to meet a group of people who can be his enemies or his friends, and he will be put to different kind of tests, and these tests will actually help him to understand this new world, the dangerous world, properly, so that he can face the challenge later. So this is a section in which the hero will go through many a transition, and he will interact with many characters. Some characters will appear to be his friends, some he will be able to identify as enemies, and through a series of tests, hero will be able to gather himself together, able to understand his own potentiality, and will be prepared to reach to the next stage. Number 7 stage in hero's journey is known as approach, meaning that in this section the hero and his newly found friends, buddies, allies, they prepare for a major challenge in the special world, in the dangerous world, because the hero has already crossed the threshold and he has faced many tests and challenges, and he is now ready with his friends to fight for the final battle. The next stage in hero's journey is the stage called the Ordeal. In this stage, the hero reaches a central space in the special world, at the core of the special world, which is a dangerous and unknown world to fight. And this is the section in which the hero will face the greatest challenge. He will stand face to face with death, and from the moment of death he will come back, regain power and start his last battle. So the Ordeal is the section in which the hero will go through a major change and face death face to face and resurrect to come back. The ninth stage in hero's journey is known as the reward. In this section, the hero will win the battle, conquer the evil and claim his reward. But in the moment of celebration, there may be also danger. But whatever the danger may be, the hero will survive and regain the treasure, whatever he has won. So in this section, the number 9th section known as the reward, the hero will finally win the battle and claim the reward. The stage number 10 in hero's journey is known as the road back. In this section, the hero will actually move out of the special world, the dangerous world, and return to his own world. He will bring back the reward, which can be a treasure, it can be a wisdom, it can be knowledge, it can be an individual, whatever it may be, the hero will bring back the treasure home. Often the road back section can include a kind of chase scene, further battle, further fight in order to take the treasure home. The hero must win and come back and complete the mission. The stage number 11 in a hero's journey model is the resurrection. It is called resurrection because the moment when hero is about to cross the threshold, coming back to his own ordinary world from the special world, there will be a final battle or final test. It will be another moment of death for the hero. It will be the final test and he must win that battle to come back home with the treasure. The hero's action in this particular section will actually resolve the problem permanently. He will be able to defeat the enemy, he will be able to conquer and he will return wounded but as a winner. The 12th and final stage in a hero's journey is called return with Elixir, which means the reward. Hero has come back with the treasure in his own ordinary world, but because of the journey, the hero has gone through some kind of transformation. Maybe he has come back wiser, stronger, more powerful and ready for a new action, ready for new adventure. The 12 stages of hero's journey gives us a very clear idea about how the ancient myths were structured, how the old narratives were structured. We realize that the stories have a kind of circular structure. It starts from ordinary world and it completes the circle when it comes back to the ordinary world once again. But in many stories, because of the journey, because of the adventure, because of the external forces active, the journey can be also a spiral one, meaning that you cannot come back to the point one again because everything has changed. But the point is that when the journey is complete, the hero will either enter into his own world, the ordinary world, and everything will be same as usual, or he will come back home, but the concept of home has changed. The ordinary world in which he comes back has changed. So it is not a kind of circular structure, but it's like a spiral structure, is coming to a different point, but the problem has been resolved and the story is finished.